life ends as it began, in Hyrule. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword may well be the last major release for the best-selling console of the generation. If so, at least you can't say it didn't go out with a flourish. Skyward Sword takes place before all the other Zelda games, if that actually somehow matters. In this version of the legend, a goddess has split the world into the airborne land of Skyloft, where Link, Zelda, and their friends live, and the legendary surface, which nobody has seen for generations. As you might expect, Link is a bright-eyed youth with a crush on the girl with the old-fashioned name, even if she can be a bit pushy sometimes. Skyloft is an idyllic place that is unlike just about any other location in the Zelda series. The inhabitants get around using birds called loftwings, and the best of the best get to be Knights of Skyloft. Being a knight mainly seems to consist of telling people they can't fly at night, but you gotta have goals in a small town. Naturally, right after Link passes the test to become a knight and starts making some headway with Zelda, she gets sucked into a windstorm of pure evil and vanishes. So Link suits up in the conveniently familiar knight outfit to track her down. And wouldn't you know it, he turns out to be some kind of chosen one. He picks up the goddess sword, which is imbued with an analytical artificial intelligence named Phi. She lacks the charm of Midna from Twilight Princess, but she'd clean up on skating with the stars. The world of Skyloft and the surface is pretty to look at and very cleverly crafted, but it is not without its flaws. The overworld of the sky is open, and you can fly around in it as much as you like, but there's not really much to do up there besides enjoy the smooth flight controls using the Wiimote Plus. The surface is packed with puzzles and dungeons, but it's shockingly small. There are only 3 main areas, and you'll retread old ground many times over the course of the game. It's still a long game, but some of that length is definitely padding, and it feels smaller and linear as a result. Still, it's Zelda, and the story and setting are mostly there to serve the gameplay, which is fine, since the gameplay part is pretty great. We'll get to that in part 2 of our review.
We'll admit it, we were a little skeptical of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword's heavy reliance on motion controls. Would they enhance the game or knock it flat on its back? I'm happy to report that the controls are so good, it actually came as a bit of a shock, like a surprise bird in your window. Skyward Sword significantly changes up how you interact with Link. Most prominently, his sword is controlled by the Wiimote, and in fact you can move it around one-to-one, which is surprisingly satisfying. Actual swings lock the sword into one of 8 preset attack animations, but this is used to the game's advantage. Many enemies demand precise use of the sword's angles. In fact, the first boss will actually take your sword away if you're too sloppy about it. He also does this really creepy tongue thing. You will have to become skilled at using the Wii Motion Plus with precision to succeed, and this is a very welcome level of challenge. Link also picks up a large arsenal of gadgets and tools, many of which are not new to the series, but you've never controlled them like this before. Each has a distinct and solid feel, and using them is never frustrating. Dungeon design is top quality, and many of the puzzles you encounter make direct use of the motion controls, like these eyes you have to make dizzy by swinging your sword in a circle. Some elements are bogged down by that padding problem, though. Link's shield can now break if it's overused, forcing you to run back to the Skyloft store to buy another one. You'll also collect a bunch of crafting items, which are used to upgrade items in a grindy and not fun crafting system that doesn't really seem to fit in a Zelda game. If all Wii titles had motion control integration this seamless and smooth, a lot of the complaints about the system would have never come up. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword gets a 4 out of 5.